The Yankees were swept by the Angels. The Yankees have not looked good going into the second half. Their bullpen has been crap. It's been really bad. And the pitching staff, come on. Carlos Rodon has a 7 ERA. It doesn't look good. Do I think this is Carlos Rodon? No. Do I think Carlos Rodon is 100% healthy? No. Do I think that we're going to see the real Carlos Rodon this year? I expect it. When you miss spring training, you miss the first half of the season, you can't expect a guy to get on the mound and just figure it out. Baltimore is only 9.5 games over the Yankees. The Yankees are out of a wild card spot. It's still winnable. It's still approachable. You have the Blue Jays. You're going to play the Blue Jays at least 10 more times. You're going to play the Red Sox, and you're going to play Tampa, and you're going to play Baltimore at least a few more times. If you win these series, you're going to get up there. I wouldn't say first place, but I think the Yankees could absolutely make it as a wild card team. Now, I expect Brian Cashman to make some interesting moves in the next couple of weeks. I think he's going to add to the rotation. I think he's going to add 2 bats to the lineup. I just think that the way the Yankee fans are attacking the Yankees, even the non-Yankee fans attacking the Yankees as a whole and saying that Brian Cashman is the cause of this, that they should fire him, they should move on from him. And this is what always seems to happen. The Yankees are not predicted to win a World Series. Every single Yankee fan wants to jump off a bridge. But the Yankees are the only team in professional sports history that's had 34 consecutive seasons with 500 baseball. You know how hard that is? It is not easy to do that with the transition of players and superstars and rosters. It doesn't usually work like that.
And also you look at the starting pitching contracts in general, too. We've seen a lot of guys transition to new teams and have issues right away with their first year of that particular team. Now, the longevity for Carlos Rodon is going to be greater because he's a younger pitcher. He's 29 when he signed the contract in comparison to a lot of the older pitchers that got signed. You have to give him that chance for that reason, too. Maybe he's a little nervous to first start with the Yankees, but they also threw him into Coors Field, too, at his first start there. And then you're playing against the Angels, who have a very talented offense. Their pitching isn't great, but it's going to be some tough, rocky roads in order to get there, too. And also, he's had to do so much, and these other starting pitchers have to do so much, because like you were saying, this bullpen is getting so worn down with all the injuries.
But we knew that was going to happen. We knew the bullpen was going to be worn down. They were the number 1 bullpen in baseball in the first half last year. With injuries and the way they were pushing their bullpen at the end of the first half, going into the second half, they started off very, very slow, and it took them a while to get back to that top-end bullpen. And that happened at the end of the season when 3 or 4 guys started to produce for them. This year, they're in the same predicament. And I do believe that this roster is not as bad as the numbers would show it to be. Now, they're not a good lineup. They're actually a terrible lineup right now. Even with Judge in the lineup, it's still a horrible lineup. But we have seen worse lineups go deeper into the playoffs. I predict the Yankees will make the playoffs. One way or another, they'll find a way into the playoffs because there's 65 games left in the season. That's a significant amount of games, and the Yankees could go on a 10-game winning streak. Rodon didn't have a first half. He didn't have a spring training. He was coming off an elbow injury, a shoulder injury, and now he's playing. You think he's going to play lights-out baseball? It's going to take him at least 3 or 4 games to figure it out. And he's playing in a different ballpark. He's got to play in Yankee Stadium, a smaller ballpark. He's got to figure it out. It's still a good contract, $27 million for a power lefty. Tell me the next left-handed power pitcher that becomes available that's not going to make more than $27 million.
Yep, Max Fried is waiting for that next offseason. He'll be getting that.
He'll get close to 38, 37 million.
He pitched his first game in Coors Field. That's hard to do in itself. Then you're playing against the Cubs in Yankee Stadium, a smaller park to do that. He's played most of his career with the White Sox, who have a pitcher's ballpark. San Francisco last year, pitcher's ballpark. And that kind of adjustment to the AL East right away, too, is going to be hard on itself because besides Tampa, all the rest of those ballparks are going to be considerably tough. Now, obviously, he still has to do it. He still has to figure out how to turn things around in August. Otherwise, the Yankees are not going to make the playoffs. But even so, I would give him more of a chance than just 3 starts, Yankee fans.
He could pitch lights-out baseball in the month of August. If the Yankees aren't scoring, they're not going to win. He will have one of these runs where he's going to give up 1 or 2 runs in 4 games when he figures it out. And it's not going to be enough if the Yankees can't put runs on the board. And they haven't. The Yankees are scoring for the last month. The Yankees are averaging 2.5 runs a game. That's not enough. You can't win like that.
No, they were averaging a stretch for a while when they were struggling in July. The only 2 teams that had less runs per game than the Yankees were the Royals and the Athletics, the 2 worst teams of baseball.